I procrastinate videos like a pro procrastinator, if you will. I'm also pro procrastination. This is true especially for the flashlight videos, because there's the math, the early mornings, late nights, but mostly the math. I mean, with Satan's help, of course, the calculators do the math. That said, in order to get me jump-started reviewing a pile of lights I bought earlier this year that I didn't feel like getting around to, I accepted when Going Gear wanted to send me the $86 raw copper Acebeam TK16 for review. Raw copper isn't a material popular in everyday carry circles because it shows wear quickly and uniquely to the person. Raw copper begins to tarnish and dull and changes colors to match a gear nerd's personal sphere of squalor. Don't wash your hands after a number 2? That's a nice purple. Preparing raw chicken just by the light of your new EDC, you'll get a hint of green. And if you're lucky, in a few months it all mixes together into the inevitable roll of old pennies look. Remember how you were told not to put money in your mouth when you were a kid because it looked gross? Well, now you can get that look out of a flashlight, something you also probably put in your mouth. The Acebeam TK16 is a compact flashlight powered off of the throwawayable CR123A batteries, or the included rechargeable 16340 lithium ions. It's compact and a little heavy for its size because copper is kind of heavy. There's an aluminum version of the TK16 that comes in a few emitter styles and color temperatures, but the blinged out copper edition comes in a cool white tinted XPG3 LED option. And while we're here, let's look at the output levels. First up, moonlight mode. You'll see on screen my tested values along with what Acebeam says. Now low. My figures are estimates only. I did a video on how I do this a long time ago. Of course, no one watched it. Let's go to mid. I also did a candela and lumens one that explains those numbers up there too. No one saw, because, light videos kind of suck. High. My point is that I do have a homemade device, sometimes forget birthdays, I have a hard time eating right, so my lumens and candela values aren't going to be perfect either. Turbo. So read other reviews to get a better picture of the light's performance. That said, I only tested the power mode and not the eco mode because I don't have that kind of time. I guess I do if I'm making this video. Which is a great segue into the next section, which is the how does it function even if you didn't ask part. The all copper body doesn't lock out mechanically, so if you're going to be storing in a pocket, a bag, mule style, or in a plastic bin with 60 other lights you'll never use, lock it out to prevent accidental diurnal or nocturnal LED emissions. Removing the battery also, of course, works. So let's press for 5 seconds from off to lock it so it doesn't turn on accidentally. And then we wait another 5 seconds to reactivate it, and I guess wait for me to catch up in the demonstration here. I'll just pause for a second. Hey, how was your day? Oh, that sounds... Moving on. Moonlight mode. It's not saved into mode memory, so press and hold for about a second to access a 3/4 of a lumen of light. Make sure you release it after it turns on to avoid the 5-second press activating, lockout, which I just demonstrated. I prefer moonlight modes well under half a lumen though, personally. Single click turns it off, and then a single click turns it back on so you get to the standard modes. To scroll through the standard modes, low, mid, high, just press and hold while on, and it scrolls through them endlessly until you release. Whatever you used last before you turned it off, now it's saved into mode memory. Activating turbo or moonlight do not affect mode memory, and neither are saved into mode memory. Turbo is activated by a slow double click, click, slide, pause, click, like that. And turning it off, there's a fraction of a second delay. One time a guy called me a shill for a company because I forgot to talk about the delay, even though I technically didn't notice it at the time. Of course, the light uses an electronic switch that has kind of an audible click. It's not a quiet click. And also, you got to hit it sometimes dead center for it to actually turn on or off. Sometimes if you hit it off center and you hear it click, it doesn't work. Remember, there's 2 main operation modes. It comes with eco and power, and mine was in eco mode when I turned it on. And you access those with 10 clicks while in lockout mode. I won't show you other than say I used power mode, and eco mode doesn't interest me because it only changes the turbo mode output levels, and which I thought high was for anyway if you didn't want to use turbo. Alright, are we run times? Which unfortunately doesn't mean it's almost over, so I would just leave right now. For this I used the included 550 mAh Acebeam cell. Now using the time-lapse mode on my camera, I have included in the frame a lux meter and an alarm clock. The clock showing runtime, the lux meter if it gets brighter or dimmer. I know that seems obvious, but some people are dumb as rocks, or flashlight videos, to use an unused parlance of our times. First, turbo. 30 seconds in, we're about 1550 lumens, 1550. The first minute and a half hits hard and we drop down to 340 lumens, or about 20% of initial brightness. The good news is that's rock bottom for now, because still at 10 minutes in, it holds 340 lumens or so. And we'll go all the way to 30 minutes in. We're still holding on to those lumens. You'll notice light flickering that the lux meter doesn't read in the frame. That's because it's under my workbench and it's daylight out, and the lux meter doesn't pick up the extra light pollution that the camera lens does. At a little over 40 minutes in, the light flickers to the point where it's annoying you into changing the battery. Ending voltage was about 2.8 to 2.9 volts on all tests when the light shut itself off. That means either the battery has protection or the light does. I feel like it's the battery because the light doesn't specifically say it. Now we're at high mode. 30 seconds in, we're at our rated 613 lumens per super boring ANSI flashlight standards. 2 minutes in, we're over 600 lumens still. 10 minutes in, we've lost 6% of overall brightness and we're hitting about 575 lumens. 11 minutes in, we see a hard step down to 60% of initial brightness, or 360 lumens. Then it holds pretty steady until the 40-minute mark, where the annoying blinking starts with 360 lumens coming out. Time to recharge, because it blinks and dims until the 48-minute mark, where light ceases to come out. Always remember, ending battery voltage is bad if you drain the battery past 2.5 volts. Flashlight operating voltage is usually 2.5 to 4.2 volts on lithium-ion powered flashlights. Now medium. 10 minutes in, we've lost 0.5% of our 115-ish lumens. Half an hour, we've barely lost 1%, but we've lost 90% of the audience. An hour in, still not a jacker in sight, and we're still at a 1% drop, barely. In math speak, that's over 100 awesome lumens. 2 hours in, barely dropped 2%. 2.5 hours, we're still over 110 lumens. 2 hours and 50 minutes in, over 100 lumens, you get the warning blinks, time to recharge, put in a new battery, whatever. 2 hours, 58 minutes, it shuts off. Acebeam says 3 hours on this runtime. That's pretty freaking close. Beam shots. Few similar sized everyday carry lights. My garage where I shot the runtime test is about 57 feet away. I didn't make it an even 60 just to piss some people off, because it will. Camera is set to manual, white balance, 5000 Kelvin on the camera. Meaning warm lights look really warm, and cool white lights like the Acebeam at about, 6500 Kelvin don't look as cool as the warm lights look warm. You get what I'm saying? Anyway, it's pretty similar to what my eyes see. The Acebeam isn't super throwy. More of the foreground is lit. For newer people, higher candela numbers mean brighter hotspots and less spill, usually. Now the BLF FW3A made by Lumentop. Even though it looks pretty warm here, it's actually not quite as warm as a typical incandescent light bulb, or, compact fluorescent or LED in your house. My fixed white balance on my camera shows relative white balance, so it's kind of jarring, even though your eyes sort of adjust to it. FW3A steps down fast without tweaking the firmware, a phrase which doesn't help me look forward to doing my upcoming review. Great light though otherwise. Now the Zebra Light SC600HI, a throwier light. I've had this for a while and it's not quite as bright as a TK16 overall, but the beam travels much further. Look at the spill when you compare the two, and you'll see that's where the light is. Zebra Light is a single LED. Acebeam has 3. Now the JetBeam RRT01, the lowest output of all the lights here. Has the lowest low too, though. Cool white tint. It's a little bigger than the TK16, which is, the Acebeam is the tiniest of all the lights here. A few years ago, it would have been unheard of to get 1500 lumens out of a tiny light like the TK16. And while we're at it, let's show you the other copper light, the Olight S2 Copper. Did a review for Going Gear so long ago. This is normally my backpack light. This was an exclusive to Going Gear from Olight, and it's no longer made. Wrapping it up, the TK16 is pretty nice. Would have liked maybe a neutral white offering in the copper version, but it looks like cool white is all that's available. Cool white, of course, gives you the higher output. The light's well made. Pocket clip is okay. A lot of flashlight clips are, just okay. This one's kind of deepish, and I guess that's nice, so yeah. You also have to remember copper is a little soft, so dropping it 4 feet onto the concrete while you're changing the batteries like I did, well, it dented the head in the thread area, because of course it did. So it's a little harder to screw together now. Although the machining is nice and it feels nice and grippy in the hand because of all the large pieces of knurling. Do we call that knurling? But since raw copper looks nice, and since I'm your standard gross man, I like what my filth is doing to the finish. Maybe I won't wash my hands all day today. I'd like to thank Going Gear for donating this and the Ryuke Rake P108 to the channel for review. I just did a giveaway on my Instagram for the P108, and if you're not following me on Instagram, you're missing out on the giveaways I do. So say hi to my patrons here. I think you should become one. That's my personal opinion. The $1 or $5 a month. Buy this light exclusively via Going Gear or BattleBox with the links below the video. Buy a t-shirt. Those are actually below the video too. It supports my channel. Anyway, like, subscribe, comment, follow me on Instagram. Thanks for watching.